Denver Sports presents the Mile High Hockey Podcast with Mike Evans, presented by Fort Comfort Gutters. Now here's your host with the latest on the Burgundy and Blue, Mike Evans.
Hey everybody, welcome in as things are good right now with the Colorado Avalanche. As we talk right now, getting ready to take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. They're in the midst of a season-high 7-game winning streak and looking good, looking strong. A couple of thoughts about where this team is right now and how they've gotten here. It's clear that the new additions have worked in very, very well, and that this has really energized this hockey team. And you can see it. You can feel the energy. The players are openly talking about it. You can see the way that they are playing. You can see how guys are fitting in. And this is something I talked about last week, but I do want to commend again the front office, not only going out and finding the right kind of guys, but understanding what the Avs' identity is, what kind of player fits in their room from a character standpoint, but also stylistically from the way that these guys play, finding guys that mix and match in what they've built here and the style that they want to play. But so far, the returns on the ice have been great. And a couple things about this recent stretch. The road trip. I thought one of the more underrated parts of coming out of this trade deadline was how the schedule worked out and how they were able to have a couple of days of practice before everybody started playing, and then they were able to go out on the road. And there's something really cohesive and a bonding experience when these teams are able to go out on the road for an extended amount of time. And you still see a team that is still heavily reliant on their top guys. This is still a top-line dominated team, but is that necessarily a bad thing when this top line has been as dominant as they've been? At times you watch them play, and it's one of those things where even if you didn't have their numbers and their names on the back of their sweaters, that you would just know the top line, the top defensive pairing is out there. Because the game just takes on a different flow. It takes on a different feel. There's a different kind of energy when those top guys are out there. And they just continue to play at an obscenely high level. Remember, and you know who you are, the Mikko Rantanen doubters out there? I heard from some of you. I saw this as the trade deadline approached. What's wrong with Mikko? Mikko's slumping. Mikko is underachieving. They need to think about trading Mikko. I was like, whoa. Easy there. Let's calm things down a little bit. And Rantanen's been on a heater of late and playing at a very high level. That goal the other day against St. Louis, it was when he was in the slot, puck came through, and it was just beautiful eye-hand coordination, just letting the game slow down around him, not getting rushed, and he just turns the blade. Just didn't have a shot, didn't wind up, nothing like that. Just the puck comes through and he sees it and he just kind of opens the blade a little bit and it goes in. Beautiful, beautiful goal. That is a beautiful, beautiful goal. So a couple things about the way the Avs are playing right now, and maybe take a look at the bigger picture is what I want to talk about today as we look ahead to where they could end up. Are you somebody that's bothered by and freaked out by the President's Trophy? Do you want them to go for the President's Trophy? Do you want them to keep up a pace right now that has them finishing not only first overall in the West, but perhaps first overall in the NHL? Are you spooked at all by the idea of the President's Trophy? I'm not. I think this team, maybe if they were a team that hadn't won a Stanley Cup just a couple of years ago, and was still kind of trying to prove their playoff legitimacy, if they finished with the best record in the NHL, now you're putting a bullseye on your back that maybe they're not equipped to handle. This group, with the veteran, experienced nature of their core and their coaching staff, I don't think it's that big of a deal. So go for it. Go for the best record. If anything, go for it and be one of those rare teams that wins the President's Trophy and then is still able to go on and win the Stanley Cup. At least for this year, show that the President's Trophy curse is a myth. But what I thought was interesting is we're looking at potential playoff seedings where they could end up. I thought it was interesting, Jared Bednar on the record is saying, you know what, getting Vegas in the first round, 1 versus 8 matchup, might not be the most ideal opponent. I don't think they should be looking to manipulate their play down the stretch to avoid a team like Vegas. I will acknowledge Vegas is a hard team, at least for me right now, to figure out. I don't follow them religiously on a day-to-day basis like I do the Avs. So my view from afar is that this is a Vegas team that just simply wants the regular season to be over with and get on into the playoffs, and they feel confident in their ability as defending Stanley Cup champs, getting guys back from injury. The Vegas loophole, the LTIR loophole that Vegas does is it's a loophole. It's valid, but geez, do they take advantage of it? Like, wow, guys. I mean, yeah, you've made your point, but there's two ways to look at it. One, Vegas is struggling for a reason. They're defending Stanley Cup champs. They don't have the same fire and motivation that they had last year. They're kind of going through the motions. They don't have the same kind of vibe around them that they had last year. And thus, as an 8 seed, bring them on, right? They'd be ripe for the picking. The other way of looking at it is that they're a team that figures pretty comfortably that they're going to be in the playoffs because they won a Stanley Cup last year. They don't sweat who they'll play, where they'll play. They don't feel like they need to have home ice, and they're not going to really push things coming down the stretch. They want to just make sure that they're healthy and ready to go. If how you choose to look at Vegas then probably colors how you would view a first-round matchup with them. I probably look at it that it's more of the latter, that this is a team that figures that they'll be able to flip the switch. That's a dangerous thing to do in sports, but if ever a team is going to be able to flip the switch, it's a team that just won the year before. So from that standpoint, I wouldn't welcome a first-round matchup with Vegas, but I wouldn't fear it either, for the simple reason that if the Avalanche are who and what I think they are, then playing Vegas shouldn't be a problem, and beating Vegas shouldn't be a problem. And if they can't beat Vegas, then shame on them. If they can't beat Vegas in the first round, if they can't beat them in any round in the Western Conference playoffs, I don't really care where they play them. If they can't beat Vegas, then you know what? This Avalanche team wasn't made of the right stuff. So from that standpoint, I don't sweat a first-round matchup with Vegas because I think this Avs team is made of the right stuff. And so as far as I'm concerned, bring on Vegas. If anything, maybe it helps. Maybe it just gets you right into the playoffs, the grind of the playoffs, the mentality of the playoffs, and that playing and beating a team like Vegas in the first round only makes you stronger as you move along throughout the course of the playoffs. So there is that. But as far as where they're going right now, I talked about this the other day on the morning show with Schlereth, the idea of peaking too early. So here we are, the Avalanche, with a 7-game winning streak as we're talking, with still about a dozen or so games left, about a month left in the season. Do you worry about the risk of them peaking too quickly? Honestly, I don't, because of how many new faces that they are incorporating. Peaking means the idea that, you play to a certain level, and then after that, things get kind of stale, and you lose that feeling, and you're not able to get it back. To me, this team is so relatively new that they're not only still working on incorporating all the pieces, but this winning is contagious. It's infectious. It's something that they're not going to get bored with because it's being made, this winning streak is being made still with guys that are new to them, and they're still getting to know. And so I don't think that there's that much room with the amount of time left in the regular season for things to really get stale. I could see this team on this heater that they're on and honestly staying on it right through the regular season, and just instead of this feeling of, oh, if they peak too early, I just think it'd be a sense of overwhelming belief and confidence and momentum rolling into the playoffs. So they're playing really well. I thought it was a big deal that in this 7-game winning streak that they have put together their longest road streak of the season, matching their longest road streak of the season, which was back in October. It's been a kind of a bookend performance by the Avalanche on the road this season. They got off to a strong start, then a big, massive kind of just pool of blah on the road for a good chunk of this season up until this most recent road trip with their new acquisitions, in which they look terrific on the road. So I talked about this last week, that if I was looking at the check marks, the boxes that I wanted to see them check off before they get into the playoffs, the return of Val Nichushkin, getting him back up to the speed he was at prior to going into the player assistance program, done. Establishing some sort of a confidence, some swagger, some cockiness on the road, some real belief on the road was number 2. It looks like they have done that. And now it's just a matter of fine-tuning, right? It's just a matter of really feeling good about the combinations that you want to be able to go to in the playoffs. There is the added wild card. The guy they got from KHL, Kovalenko, looks like at first it looked like he had a serious injury that would end his season, but now not the case. He's going to get some time with the Colorado Eagles to get kind of ramped up. It'll be curious to see, because as terrific as a prospect he is, and as well as he played in the KHL, it's a big difference going from the KHL to the NHL, especially in the playoffs. But hey, what do you got to lose? You're already pretty stacked right now. There's a feeling that they've got 4 good lines. If you want a great endorsement, by the way, for how Jared Bednar views this team, when he came out and said after playing Edmonton that he feels like he could take any one of their 4 lines, put them out there against Connor McDavid and Draisaitl, and feel confident with that line, whatever line it is. Wow, what an endorsement that is, saying I believe in all 4 lines to that level. That's something to feel really optimistic about. So I wish, I don't wish, but I guess it'd be fun, or at least make it a little interesting, if there was some kind of hot button topic, right, for guys like me to be able to wedge drive in on and say, oh boy, they got to really worry about this. There isn't right now. They're playing well. The new guys are fitting in. They've created the energy boost that you get when you make acquisitions, and clearly these guys are showing that they can play too. So now it's kind of just continue to build that consistency, develop that cohesiveness. But I won't lie, there's a part of me now that's like, can we hurry up and get this over with? Hurry up and get the regular season over with, and I want to see what this all looks like in the playoffs. Because take, for example, Casey Middlestat, right? So much attention's been paid to finding that second-line center, going out, acquiring, identifying Middlestat as that guy that you believe can be the guy not only now but moving forward long-term. And the early returns on Middlestat have been everything you want, right? Everything that you've said and seen, nothing would indicate that he can't be the answer. But let's face it, until it's done in the playoffs, until you see him be able to make that kind of second-line center impact that, well, we saw from Nazem Kadri a couple of years ago, we know what it looks like. We know what is necessary, what you probably need if you're going to win a Stanley Cup, what you need to get from your second-line center. All we can go by is what he's done to this point, which has been terrific and makes you feel really good about what he's going to be able to do come playoff time. But there is still the element of he's got to actually do it. So I guess that's really where we're at right now with this team, right? Is that, hey, where are they going to finish in the standings? It certainly looks like a team that should finish. I believe will end up finishing with the best record in the West when it's all said and done, and may even have the best record in the NHL. So I think they're going to be in the position of having home ice, and then it's just a matter of, okay, what we've seen coming down the stretch with this new look hockey team, how does it translate to the playoffs? And as we sit here right now, you got to feel pretty good about how it's going to translate. But that is still to come for about 3 weeks from now, about a month from now, 4 weeks from now is when we get down to the real fun part. But hey, right now things are good. They're rolling 7 in a row. They got a homestand that is ready to start, a 6-game homestand that should be a lot of fun. Should continue to see this team continue to play at a high, entertaining, productive level. So good time to be an Avalanche fan. Enjoy it. Keep the run going. We'll be back next week to talk a couple more times as we follow this thing on the Mile High Hockey Podcast presented by Fort Comfort Gutters. Everybody have a great weekend. I want to thank Matt for engineering. Matt, I want to get your last name to give you full credit. I still struggle with it, so give it to me off camera. What is it again? Melchizedek. Matt Melchizedek. Say that one 10 times fast. Matt Melchizedek. Melchizedek. Matt Melchizedek. Jeez, we got to give you a hockey name. We got to give you a hockey nickname. You know, like what would be a good, Melly, Decker. Melchizedek? Decker. There you go. Decker, good job engineering. Or just call him Matty. All right. Matty M, thank you very much. We'll see you again next week.